What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. So today I am partnering up with KBShimmer to show you their new I Keep On Falling collection for autumn 2025. Now if you haven't heard of KBShimmer before, they are an independent nail polish brand that is based in the US and all of their polishes are 10 free, meaning they are free of 10 of the potentially harmful ingredients that can be found in nail polish. They're vegan, meaning they do not use any animal derived ingredients, and they're also cruelty free, meaning they do not test their products on animals. So they just released this new collection. We've got 8 brand new shades and we have a ton of different finishes here. We've got flaky jelly, we've got multi-chrome, we've got multi-chrome magnetic, we've got a reflective magnetic, and we also have a really beautiful shape glitter nail polish that absolutely blew my mind when I first saw the promo picture, so I'm very excited to show these to you. Now there are 3 magnetic polishes in this collection, so I'm going to show you all 3 of them in the regular cat eye style, and then I'm going to show you them all in the velvet style as well. And a lot of you recently have been requesting that I start to use the horseshoe magnet. So that's what I'm going to be using for today's video, but you can still use the regular nail magnet. If you need a refresher on how to do any magnetic stuff on your nails, I do have a video about it up here. But yeah, let me dive into the swatches, then we can talk a little bit more about my thoughts on them, pricing, availability, all that good stuff. So roll the swatch footage. So as with all of my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today it's the KBShimmer Ridge Filling Base Coat. And we'll start off with the one I was the most excited about. This is Constellation Prize, and it actually comes with this separate packet of moon glitter. So I'm actually going to show you 2 different ways to apply it, but first I'll just let you know it is a really stunning, intense blue base that has a ton of silver holographic glitters in it. We've got hex glitters in various sizes, we've got circular moon glitters, we've got crescent moon glitters, and it's just a really fun polish. So this is the first way that I would recommend applying it, basically just doing 1 coat for regular coverage and then taking the bottle brush and kind of swirling it around the bottle, getting a thicker layer of polish onto it with more of the glitters, and then applying it. And then you can still use that bottle brush to kind of push everything around so that it's nicely dispersed around the nail. You can see the different sizes of glitters in there. They're not all kind of stacked on top of each other. And I also find that this doesn't feel too thick on the nail, but if you do want a more precise application, that's where those moon glitters come in handy. So if you actually want to decide the placement of the glitters, I would do 2 thin coats. You can see I almost have nothing on the brush, and I'm basically just doing these kind of background layers of the color. And then once I have those 2 coats on, I'm just taking a little orange wood stick. You can also use a toothpick, and I am just gently applying those loose pieces of glitter around my nail in the spots that I want. And one thing to note is that the moon glitter pieces actually have a larger circular moon shape as well. So if you want to get those bigger glitters on there, that's a super fun way to do it. And then you can just go in with 1 final very thin coat, and it kind of just makes the polish look like it's still 1 glitter polish rather than having those separate pieces of glitter on top of it. And I will say both ways are super beginner friendly. I don't think this is a difficult polish to work with. I know sometimes people get nervous about working with larger or shaped glitters, but I think this one is just too fun to resist, and it really is easy to apply either way you do it. Next up we have the shade In a Pickle, and this one is actually a multi-chromatic green polish. So looking at it head on, you can actually see a really beautiful spectrum of green colors, from this sort of lime green into a more intense green shade into an even blue toned green, and then around the edges you can also see that yellow shift into an orangey color. And as you move your nail around, you can just see so much going on in there. And I love a shade like this for Halloween. I think it's so intense and bright, but it also has that blackened sort of base that looks a little mysterious and maybe a little evil. Next up we have a full glitter nail polish. This one is called It's Crunch Time, which is a very appropriate name because this looks exactly like a pile of fallen leaves. It is just so stunning. We have a huge mix of colors in here that's basically just all of the colors of autumn leaves. We've got got the orange, we've got this golden color, we've got a little hint of green in there, we've got some deeper shades like burgundy kind of vibes, and I have to say I really loved the way that this one looked in 2 coats. It gave a nice even coverage, but you could still see some areas with my nail underneath, and to me that kind of gives the effect of the leaves on the ground, and you can kind of like see the sidewalk underneath. But I was actually able to get even better coverage in a 3rd coat, so it's really dependent on how intense you want that coverage to be, and I was able to patch up any areas in that 3rd coat. You can also of course sponge it on, but I feel like it's just easiest to apply a polish normally, so I always appreciate when a polish reaches full opacity with just regular application. Next up we have the shade Candy Dew Attitude, and this one is actually a flaky jelly polish. So we've got this beautiful slightly warm toned pink jelly base, and then we have an intense flaky running throughout. We've got black flakies, we have these more cool toned fuchsia flakies in there, and then we have some colors that blend in really nicely with that pinky base to create an interesting warmer pinky tone in there. And this to me just looks like a beautiful dragon fruit inside. I loved the way that it looked in 2 coats, but again, just with jellies sometimes you can build up the coverage to create a bolder color, so I did want to try that, and I ended up applying a 3rd coat and I really liked that as well. So again, I just feel like based on how intense I want the color to be, I would do either 2 or 3 coats, but 3 coats definitely gives a really vibrant color with all of that intense glitter. And then we have another pinky nail polish. This one's kind of veering into purple territory, and it's called Blanket Statement. This is actually another jelly base, but this time we have this really beautiful cool toned almost fuchsia jelly base, and then it is packed with these beautiful flakies as well as a flash reactive silver glitter. So I always love seeing these polishes even in regular lighting. I think they just look so intense and unreal on the nail. They definitely look more sparkly than your average nail polish, and I think it's such a fun idea to wear these also for Halloween time just because you get that reflective sort of sparkle. But what a stunning shade. I love the cool tones of it. I love this pinky vibe. This is honestly kind of what I wish my hair color was. Now moving on to the magnetic polishes. This first one is called I'll Bewitch You Shortly, and not only is it a magnetic nail polish, but it also has the flash reactive pigments in it, which is something I have never seen before, and I was super impressed with this. Now, one thing to note is usually with magnetic polishes, I'll do 2 coats for coverage and then I'll apply a 3rd to magnetize, but in this case, with the flash reactive pigments in there, I found it to be a little thicker and more opaque, so I actually just did 1 coat for coverage, and then I went and did the 2nd coat to magnetize. So while it was still wet, I hovered the magnet over my nail, and once I pulled it away, I was left with this really intense color. It almost created this black and white flash reactive background with a little hint of pink sparkle in there, and then we have this multi-chromatic blue to purple cat eye shift, which I thought was so cool. And of course I had to try it with the velvet style as well, so using the velvet magnet, and I have to say I'm still new to filming like this, so it might look a little bit funky, but this is what the end result looked like, and it just creates this really beautiful 3-dimensional effect based on however I'm moving my nail around. I can see purple or blue or that beautiful black and white with a little pink spark color underneath, and again it is flash reactive, so it's super sparkly. And then we have Azure Wish, and this one is a really beautiful blackened base that has a multi-chromatic blue magnetic shimmer running throughout, and this was another one that I found the opacity to be absolutely incredible. This was actually a 1 coater on me, and again, not something I normally do, but I did end up magnetizing the 2nd coat instead of the 3rd, and I was really impressed with how this looked. It left behind this really intense black background, and then you get this multi-chrome cat eye pigment shift, and I feel like the way that it ended up on my nail, it kind of looks like the Northern Lights, so I thought that was so beautiful, that shift into like this turquoise, into blue, into purple, and then once again trying it in the velvet style and being a little bit shaky because I didn't quite know how to do this on camera. A little bit awkward, but I will get better at it, I promise. And then you can see again that color shift and how dimensional and velvety that polish looks. Absolutely stunning. Couldn't get enough of it. And I do really think that the horseshoe magnet makes a huge difference when you're velvetizing a manicure, because it really does create this sort of glass bead effect. And then last but not least, we have the shade Heated Up, and this is another another multi-chrome magnetic. This time we have this really gorgeous fiery red to copper to orange to yellow kind of color. And with this one, I did find that I needed 2 coats for full coverage, so I did end up magnetizing the 3rd coat. But I will say, just on this color, it is so intense and bright and beautiful. Even unmagnetized, this feels like the perfect fall shade to me, so I was really excited to see it with the magnetization. So I applied my 3rd coat for coverage, I put my magnet over it, and what I was left with when I pulled that magnet away is just a really stunning contrast. Again, you just get this deep black background and then this intense multi-chromatic shift that just looks very fiery and dimensional on the nail. And I really thought this one looked especially cool in the velvet style as well. I don't know if my camera did this one justice because, like I said, I'm just a little awkward with filming it, but I think it looked so beautiful. It reminded me of a tiger's eye, especially with those colors, but it really just had this so intense fiery look to it, especially when I moved my nail from side to side. It was almost like blinding in its brightness, so I thought it was absolutely stunning. So here are all the shades together, and I have to say I really enjoyed this. I love the color story. I kind of organized it in a way so that you could see we have a really beautiful focus on like pink, then orange, then green, then blue, and we have a few different variations of each color, which I thought was really cool. But overall, such a unique collection of glitters and shimmers and magnetics in here. I thought it was really fun. I think these are just perfect Halloween sort of vibes especially, but I really enjoyed the warmer colors too because I think they're perfectly autumnal. So KBShimmer did a great job as usual here. No surprise, of course, but yeah, let's talk about these a little bit more. So those are the polishes, and overall, I am blown away by these. I feel like in general, I love and gush about KBShimmer a lot. I feel like they're a very beginner-friendly brand. I feel like they're very opaque, and you always get a lot of really fun, different indie styles in each collection, so they really do a little something for everybody. But I have to say, I feel like they really pushed the envelope this time. Doing that flash reactive magnetic is so cool. I've never seen anything like that before, so I thought it was super unique to add to my collection. Obviously, that Constellation polish absolutely won my heart over. It is so stunning, and I'm just so happy that I own it now. But just in general, I think it's a really stunning collection. I think there's just so many fun colors here, and just something about KBShimmer in general is that they just do so many different fun styles and they really pack so much into each polish, but the polishes don't feel overly busy. They just feel like they're worth a lot of money, but they're actually a pretty decent price. So speaking of price, let's get into that and the availability. All these polishes actually come in 15 milliliter bottles, which I will say is on the bigger side for indie polishes, so you do get more for your money. They do feature a wide flat brush that has a rounded tip, so application is even easier, and all of these polishes retail for $12 to $13 USD each on the KBShimmer website, so I'm going to link that down below. They do also sell the horseshoe magnet, so if you are interested in trying that out for your velvet style manicures, I'll link that below as well. And I always like to mention this just because I'm a huge fan, but their Clearly on Top quick dry top coat is so incredible, so if you are making an order, I always just encourage people to grab that as well. It's super gel-like, it dries really quickly. I do love getting the refill bottles of those, so I will link that down below as well. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think of this collection? What do you think of these colors? And what do you think of all these different finishes? Let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe. I love you all, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. I had to wear this long sleeve shirt because it's October, but it's very hot. It's like in the 90s, so I am sweating. But let me share my would you rather question, which is of course fall themed. So the question is, would you rather eat pumpkin flavored foods or apple flavored foods? Two very classic fall flavors. And I gotta say, I think I will choose pumpkin here. I'm actually not a huge fan of pumpkin spice. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I feel like I get tired of it pretty easily, but I love pumpkin flavored things, and I especially love pumpkin flavor in more savory dishes. Like anything that's like a pumpkin pasta kind of situation, I always think is super delicious. And while I do enjoy apples, I feel like that's another thing I get very tired of very quickly, and I have to like really be in the mood for something apple-y. So yeah, I'm gonna pick pumpkin here, but I am curious to hear your answer for this one, so let me know in the comments. We can chat about it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!